Welcome, everybody, to our last official Monday night Zoom sales call of 2025. This will be the last call of this year. I'm glad you're all here. We'll go ahead and record this one. If you guys seen in the Telegram chat today, I posted, bring all your questions. I know there's been a lot of stuff happening over the last 3, 4, 5 days since last week. So start dropping your questions in. I'm here to go over anything and everything tonight to help you guys figure out what's going on. Okay. So also, a big part of this call that I want to go over with everybody is kind of what Bobby talked about last Monday night, which is getting back to the basics, getting back to the original pitch, right, of TEXITcoin. And before we get too far,
recording in progress.
I better record. So the first thing I want to, kind of talk about, go over is back to the basics, back to the original pitch, which, we have a lot of people that's joined here in the last 3, 4, 5, 6 months, even, and may not have heard that first original pitch that Bobby has done, or if you have heard it, maybe not heard it enough. Right. I think he did one a couple Thursday nights ago. If that Zoom call's out there and recorded, if you can find it in Telegram, it's a good one to watch where he kind of went over the pitch from the beginning when he first started TEXITcoin, and it was great. But when he talks about getting back to the basics and getting back to the original pitch, the whole basis of that is not overselling it. I think that's I agree with him when he says that a lot of us got too complacent and we got too laxed on pitching the path to 16. It was easy. We had all the stuff. We could just show somebody right on our phone. Hey, the price is going to go up like this. This is where we're headed. This is how we're going to get there. And this is what we've done so far. And you can show them the charts right off your phone. And they're okay, yeah, well, I'm in for $1,000 or 9,000 or whatever. And it was pretty easy there for a while. And so, that's also not a good thing either. The way that we were bringing people on, the way that a lot of us were pitching it with that path to 16 was all about numbers and ROI, right? Which at the end of this day, it's never changed. We're still in this. It's still a gamble, right? We don't know what the future holds, but we have a plan. That's what he always says. And, I believe in the plan. I still believe in the plan today, and I still know we're going to get to where we want to go. And we're going to do big things because we have something in crypto and we have a market. We have a unique type of design to what we're building here in this project that a lot of people get behind. And so far, a lot of people have. We have 57,000 people. And also, when you're showing and going over a lot of these stats, it's perfectly fine to show everybody still what we've done and how far that we've come. It's almost easier now than when it was in the early days because we actually have a track record. Back in the early days, it was like, hey, we're planning on going $16 by next year in February, and it's like 20 cents right now. And you've been around how many weeks, how many months? Oh, a few. It was still, a lot to overcome. But now we can look back and we can show people, hey, this is how much revenue we brought in. This is what we've done with building the mine, right? Our mission is 3 things. We build the mine, we pay the commissions, promote the coin. It's very simple. And so far, we've done all of those 3. And we're getting better at all of those 3 every single day as well. We just got Conroe online. We've got more mine sites coming that we're looking at committing to that are pretty turnkey, which is pretty exciting. So we should still see that hash rate jump up, here over the next few weeks as well, which is pretty exciting. That's showing the proof right there, right off of our dashboard that what we're doing, is real. And so, it's going to be exciting to see, once we lay out phase 2, layer 2, and get that ball rolling on that right here after the first year, but also more and more hash rate adding onto our mine. That's going to be a lot of stuff is coming around the pike, and I'm pretty excited about it. I think 2026 is going to be a big year. I know it's going to be a lot of fun here, right, right, right in the first part of it. And it's because we have so much in our favor right now. And that's what you really have to portray to people. It's all about tell them, exactly what TEXIT Coin is, which is just a crowdsourcing project, building a local mine here in Texas, here in the United States, um, and doing it in a way that is permission based, so we can't be controlled. We can't be taken over by the hands of China or any other foreign nations, governments, and stuff like that. But we're bringing honest money to the world in a format that's the best. Crypto is perfect money. It was built to be perfect money. Why is ours going to be better or successful and different than the others? There's going to be a lot of successful cryptos out there in the future. We're going to be one of them. We're going to be one of them because we're the only ones doing it here, right? Here in the United States, permission based with the location says we have to be built in Texas, right? Nobody else has that. Plus, we're also going to be taking, the Litecoin, the Doge blocks. People are going to see that every single day. I get really excited about that part because I know how important that is in the crypto world. It takes us from where they don't even care about us to holy crap. These guys are doing something. We need to figure out what they're doing. And when you change their mindset like that, that's when they start taking us seriously. Once we get up there, 10, 12, 20 locations, 20 different mine sites, 100 million or 50 million mega hash, 20 million mega hash, that's when they're gonna start taking real notice. And then as we keep doing these trips, as we keep sponsoring the Token 2049s, these crypto conferences, that's how we get our foot in the door. But once we start taking their blocks and taking their blocks in a real way, that's what gets us a seat at the table. That's what takes us to that top 10, that top 5 coin. That's where we all want to be, right? And so that's what I get excited about, because I know as we build this mine, if we can fill these seats, we're going to get there. The layer 2 stuff and everything else is all in addition to our value. And there's so many avenues out there that we can use TEXITcoin, provide value to our network, and increase the value of our coin. That's in crypto. There's so many things. There's so many things that we can do. And we're doing it the hardest way possible. Layer 1, building the mine. And so that's what I really, really focus on when he talks about getting back to the original pitch, getting back to the basics. The whole mission of TEXITcoin is about honest money. What is honest money? Honest money has been around, gold, silver, precious metals have been honest money for years and years and years. They hold their value over long periods of time. The reason why they're not good money is because you can't scrap off pieces of gold and go down the street and pay for, a cup of coffee with it. It's very difficult. It's too difficult. However, they hold their money over long periods of time. Bobby has always said honest money, or money, has to have 3 things. 1, it's good store value. 2, you can shatter it and make it divisible into, many pieces, from your dollars down to your quarters, to your nickels, to your dimes, pennies, all that stuff, right? Crypto is perfect. You can shatter one coin into fractions and fractions of a pieces, and to any amount that you need, right? Down to, millionths of a penny, not even thousands, but millions of a penny. You can go out so many decimal places with it. It's insane. It's not something we've ever had before in the world until Bitcoin, right? And then the third thing is it's a great unit of account, right? Crypto is a perfect unit of account. So it has the traits. Crypto has all the traits of being good, honest, perfect money. Now we just have to bring that and implement it into the world that nobody in crypto has ever been able to figure out how to do. How are we going to do it? We've got the guy that's done this before. He's done this. He's broke into the world, the marketplace, with copper coins, half-ounce copper coins and silver tokens to put on fairs and festival and community events, back in the day, 15, 10, 15, 20 years ago. He'd been doing this for a long time. And he started with the precious metals, but it wasn't scalable. Why wasn't it scalable? Well, you make 4 million tokens for one event. You got to warehouse those tokens. You got to produce the tokens. You got to warehouse them. You got to move them. Whether it's 4 million copper coins or 4 million silver coins or 4 million gold coins, it's a ton of weight. It's a pain. It's hard. It's difficult, right? But with crypto, everybody's got it on their phone. It's easy. It's simple. Everybody does everything with their phone anyway now. And so with crypto, it's also scalable. As we go from one event, we can go to 2. Then we can go to 4. Then we can go to 8, 16, 32. You can keep going, multiplying this thing out 10, 100x, 200x, 1,000x across the country, 1,000 events, all running the same time, the same day, with however many tokens that they need. That's the beautiful part. And that's the difficult part to explain to people in the beginning. But that's the ultimate goal on how we can use this, bring it into a marketplace, go after a marketplace that is virtually untapped from the crypto world, but they're seeking this. They're seeking what we have. And we know that by the relationships, the conversations that we've had with them, and that Bobby shares with us every Tuesday night. He's had relationships with these international fairs and exposition communities for many, many years. And now we have Stephanie as well, which her background is fairs and festivals as well. And these people want this. They want it so bad. And we have it, and we can get it for them. And we can implement this not only through their fairs and festivals, but then increase it through their entire local economy, from all their downtown businesses, hotels, all types of different things that can run their cash system on the TXC rails. And as we scale that up and we add more and more and more to our network, that's going to increase the value of our coin. The underlying asset of TEXIT Coin is TXC, the digital asset. And so as your network does, $1 million, then 10 million, then $100 million, right? That's increasing the network. And that increases the value of our coin. And so it's a very simple plan. It is a very, very simple plan, but it is hard to articulate and communicate that to somebody that you are just starting the pitch with, right? Or you're just getting into what TXC is. It's a very fine line when you're trying to sell these people on how much information that you give them, right? And how to keep it simple so they can understand it. Because most of the time, most of my people don't understand crypto whatsoever, right? That's why I have a lot of success with this, is because I can talk as an expert, at least an expert to most people, because I have a huge depth of knowledge about the crypto space, the crypto world, and how our project fits right into it. And so that's where I get a lot of people, from crypto too, where I would always talk about the difference between what TEXIT Coin is, why it's different from the XRPs, the Ethereums, Litecoin, Dogecoin, Trump Coin, all these different things. And I pretty much have it broke down to where I kind of touch on all these different things. You always have to go over why it's not a scam. It doesn't matter who you're pitching to, what stage of this project is. We could be selling the last, 10,000 seats on this rocket ship. We could have 990,000 seats sold. The last 10,000, you're still going to have to tell the people, even down to the last one seat, you're still going to have to tell the people why this isn't a scam. Well, it's not a Ponzi scheme. It's not a pyramid scheme. It's not a pump and dump rug pull. Any of these things, because of XYZ, all the things that we've talked about over the last several weeks. And if anybody needs any help with any certain thing, drop it in the Q&A and I'll cover it. We have a couple questions here. James says a big chunk of my cash potential disappeared, and it is not January 9th. I think, James, what happened, well, I know what happened. As we went through and looked at all the commissions from week 90, week 89, week 88, and everybody's cash potentials, it was added up, it was added up wrong. And so it was also not decreasing from some people, depending on where you're at and what group. Your cash potential was not going away when you were getting a commission. And so all of that changed. And so as far as the January 9th date that Bobby put on, changes happening to the comp plan, the cash potential was not a part of that January 9th conversation. But yeah, everybody's cash potential changed because the system had it wrong to begin with. But we've got that fixed now. Anyway, if Ronnie here says, can you explain the Litecoin Dogecoin mining that Texit is looking to do? How does that benefit the business, and how can I use that when I pitch Texit to others? Okay, Ronnie, that's a great question. So what we do is we merge mine, which means TEXIT Coin, we're building our mine to mine TEXIT Coin, right? TEXIT Coin runs on the script algorithm, which is the same script hashing algorithm that Litecoin and Dogecoin runs on. Okay, Bitcoin runs on SHA-256, and so it's just a different cryptography hashing system. Okay, but Litecoin and Doge run on the same algorithm that TEXIT Coin does. So as our miners can mine TEXIT Coin, we can merge mine, meaning mine Litecoin and Dogecoin simultaneously. And so today we're hitting some Litecoin blocks. I don't think we're hitting Dogecoin yet, but we hit some Litecoin here and there. It's not very consistent because, again, our mine is very small right now. We're only running at, does anybody have the number? Does anybody have the number of what our mine is running at right now? Because it just jumped up. So right now we're running at, let's call it 5.5, 6 terahash. Which terahash, that six terahash means 6 million megahash, right? We're 6% of the way to our goal. And so right now we hit some blocks of Litecoin and Dogecoin, but since our mine is small, it's not that consistent. The whole reason why we merge mine Litecoin and Dogecoin is to actually offset and pay for the electricity bill. So today everything is small. We're not hitting it regularly. It's not enough to cover our electric bill today. But as we build out this 100 million megahash mine, we're going to be able to take 5% of the Litecoin and Dogecoin blocks every single day. Based on the math of how big those networks are, how big a 100 million megahash mine will fit into that network already, we're going to be taking 5%. Right around 5% of Litecoin and Dogecoin blocks per day. And so that will pay for the electric bill, and anything else that it'll cover for expenses once this mine is fully built out. But how we use that in our pitch is, the whole point of taking 5% of Litecoin, Dogecoin is that's what puts us on the map. That's what opens the door and gets the crypto world looking at us. Like I said a little bit ago, when you're taking 5% of those blocks every single day, the crypto world's going to see that. That's huge. Like to be somebody like that, or to do something like that, you have to build a 100 million megahash mine. It takes hundreds of millions of dollars to do that. And the people over in China that really control most of all the mine coins out there, they're going to take real notice of that. Most of the crypto activity in the world is all located over in Asia. Asia is the big hub for crypto. And so for them to take us seriously over here, we're just a little TEXIT coin right now, running at 6 million a megahash. we're not there today for them to put us on that top pedestal of the top 10 or the top 5 coins out there or the top 20, right? As we build, the size of our mine is going to be relevant to the price of our coin as well. And so as we build out this 100 million mega hash mine, we're merge mining Litecoin and Doge. We're taking 5% of those every single day. We're going to have the roadmap. We're going to have everything there to be a top 5, top 10 crypto just based on that. And then as we throw in the phase 2, the layer 2, and we actually add real value to our network, that's what's going to increase the demand and the buying of TXC ultimately, so we can push our value on the market, to push us to a $5 coin, $10 coin, $50 coin, $100 coin, and above and beyond as we scale that. That's ultimately going to give us the market cap. As everybody knows, like for tokenomics standpoint, the price of the coin, how many circulating supply coins are out there, dictates your market cap, right? And that puts you in the list of cryptos. With Bitcoin at the top being a $2-3 trillion coin, whatever it is today. What I'm saying is with merge mining Litecoin and Doge, taking 5% of those blocks every single day, that's doing something that nobody else out there has been able to do. And we're going to be able to do it, and we're going to be able to keep all of our TEXIT coins to ourselves because they're not going to be able to take our coins. It's very difficult to compete with mining against China or these other parts of the world where they get power very, very cheap. That's why Bobby says we have to keep our costs around 7 cents. That's like double or 3 times what the average Bitcoin mining operation needs to be at to be profitable or to break even. Most Bitcoin mining operations have to be around 3 cents a kilowatt hour. And it's pretty difficult to find. And I'm sure everybody here has heard about American Bitcoin, with the Trump sons running that. I hate to say it, but right now they got very deep pockets. They can keep building mining infrastructure out there to mine Bitcoin and compete with China. But at the end of the day, over long periods of time, the only thing that's going to save them is Bitcoin going up. If Bitcoin stays the same price, they're going to be out of business just like everybody else trying to mine Bitcoin. But that's what makes TEXITcoin so unique. We're not trying to compete, to mine Litecoin or Dogecoin from them. We're mining TEXITcoin. We're just also able to take Litecoin and Dogecoin as well. That's the simplest form of it, but that's the beauty of it, right? We're mining TEXITcoin, but we're able to take Litecoin and Dogecoin as well. And that will eventually be enough to offset the electric bill, pay for some other stuff, with anything excess, bills and stuff like that. But also, if there's so much excess of Litecoin and Doge, eventually one day we want to not only have TEXITcoin running here in Texas, but we want to have global redundancy. And Bobby talks about this in phase 3. This is where we have another mine over in Southeast Asia, another one in Eastern Europe, another one in Africa, South America. We have 100 million mega hash mine on every continent. And then we go from taking 5% of Litecoin and Doge. As we start the second one, we take 10%. As we start the third one, we take 15%. The fourth one, we take 20%. Right? And so, and all of these mines, these sister mines are all connected. We do what's called cross mining, where each network supports TEXITcoin, but they can't mine our TEXITcoin. We can't mine their coins. But if our network went down here in Texas, if the power grid went down, and we have another 100 million mega hash mine somewhere else in the world that's running our network, everything works seamlessly. Nothing stops. And that's the reason for global redundancy. It's very important. And that's why that's phase 3. James has another one. I signed up my mother in July. Her $1,000 investment is only worth $170 in 6 months. I told her my investment in 2024 went to $3,000 from July to December. At 50 cents a day compared to $5 a day is making it difficult to sell. Right. So again, when we're talking about numbers and ROI, it is very difficult to sell 50 cents a day. It's difficult to sell anything at 50 cents a day. But are we really selling the mission? That's what you need to ask yourself. Are we really selling the mission, or are we selling dollars? Like, we can talk about investments all day long and what we can go out there and make 10, 20, 50% on our money, right? And as you make more and more returns, the risk level is higher and higher and higher as well. The risk in this is high. And today, with the market price as it is, our returns are low, right? Which is the opposite of what most things out there. Typically high risk, high reward. Low risk, low reward, but again, it's low risk, right? And so when you're really focused your entire presentation, your pitch on the money, on the dollar figures, and you're talking about returns on what you've done and stuff like that. Like, if I go out there and tell everybody what my returns are with TEXITcoin, and everybody's signing up left and right, there are going to be a lot of mad people out there in 6 months, because past results are not going to dictate future returns, right? That same person, so like your mother that bought 6 months ago or whatever back in July, and her investment today is worth $170. That's if she cashed it out right now, too. Just because it's worth 170 today, this is crypto. Crypto is highly volatile. What would that be worth at $5 a coin? What would it be worth at $10 a coin too? That's what I would ask her. Because when you're buying a miner, you're buying something that pays you every single day at TXC, right? There's not too many things out there that you can buy that's going to just generate daily income. 50 cents a day today, right, is just the dollar value. But she's getting around 0.4 or half a coin a day on one miner, right? So half a coin a day doesn't sound like much, but half a coin of Litecoin a day would still be pretty good. Half a coin, Dogecoin wouldn't be worth much because it's only like 16, 17 cents. But Litecoin's like 80, 90 bucks last time I looked, a coin. Half of that, 40 bucks a day, it's pretty good. As TXC grows, as we mature and as we go through our phases, right, our market will go up. We are going to drive demand into our market with our layer 2 and our community currency initiative that no crypto has ever been able to do before. And so if 6 months and she doesn't have her money back, and you promised that she was going to get her money back in 6 months, that's the problem then. I don't know what you told her, but most people understand that 6 months of any investment isn't enough time to know if it's a good investment or not, no matter what it's at right now. I can give you a story. 2025. So 8-9 years ago, I was buying gold and silver, right? Everybody's been seeing the price of gold and silver today. Well, I bought gold and silver. I remember I paid $2,200 an ounce for gold back in the day. And a year later, it was worth like 1,600, 1,700, right? It goes up and down. I lost money. I bought more when it got cheaper, right? So it's all on how you look at it. That gold and silver today is looking pretty good, but it took time. It took a long time for that. Everybody should be pitching TEXITcoin on a 5-year every day. Every day. I don't care if we're talking about today, December 29th, or if we're talking next December 29th. If we're still selling seats on the rocket ship, we should be telling people it's going to take 5 years. It's going to take 5 years for this to flourish for you. Why 5 years? Because that's what Bobby told me day one when I met him. 5 years, and that's what I've told everybody. This is going to take 5 years for you to amount to anything for you. Don't look at it for 5 years. If they're not a builder and they don't want to go out there and sign people up, they just want to put their money in and sit back and relax, tell them it's going to take 5 years. 5 years is just an arbitrary number, but it's enough time for It's a long amount of time. Most people want to get into an investment. They want to have a long-term investment. 5 years is kind of that medium time frame. It's not short, but it's not long, like you're planning 30 years for a retirement account. But 5 years is a good number to start with based on them seeing good returns in a year or two, right? If somebody gets into TEXITcoin today for $1,000, they buy one seat, they're getting 0.4, 0.5 coins a day, right? A half or a little bit less. But as we roll through our plan, which our plan does take time, it takes time to integrate, phase two out there. That's what we've been, that's what Bobby's actually been really focusing on the last few months is phase two and getting the stuff prepared for that so we can start rolling this stuff out. Because there's nothing that a lot of us would like any more than going out there and signing up, talking to the, Chamber of Commerce and the State Fair of Texas or, State Fair of Iowa, Wisconsin, or wherever you guys are at, right? All your city officials and stuff like that, and rolling out currency that you could use in your local town for your local fair or festival. Like that to me is just a lot of fun to go out there and do that. And so there's a lot of us out here just chomping at the bit, just waiting to be able to go do this. And so anybody out there pitching this today, or if you've told people in the last 6 months about TEXITcoin and they've signed up, you got to be honest with them. This is going to be just like anything else. It's going to have its ups and downs. It's extremely volatile, but it's going to take time for this investment to flourish. And in 5 years, if they don't have double their money or triple their money back in 5 years, I would be shocked. I would honestly be shocked. It should be mathematically a lot better than that, but we will see. Time will tell. But at least you're not telling them, hey, this is what happened to me. I got in 6 months ago. I've made 10 times my money. You should get in now. The same thing could happen to you. It could, but let's be realistic. Let's start setting ourselves up for success and not failure by overpromising ROIs, returns, dollars and cents, stuff like that. So I hope that helps, James. I really hope we can all start telling people it's gonna take a few years. Here's where we're at today. Here's where we're gonna be right after the first year. We're starting phase two. We haven't sold out the whole mine yet, but we will. Like these seats are going to continue to sell. Even on the last 2 weeks, the worst weeks that we've had in forever, we're still 10 times better than the weeks at the beginning of this year. I know because I was around then. I could go back and see we didn't even do $100,000 in a week in January. I'm pretty sure. And we're still doing $1 million plus a week. So it's, even though it's dipped and everything's down, the holiday season, everything like that, everything is still good. Patrick says, please explain how commission potential is calculated, unearned, and earned. Commission potential is only calculated based on you signing somebody up. So personal sponsorships. So if you go out there and sign up one person, they buy one seat, right? They put in their $9.95. You have $1,000 commission potential. Now, Bobby has talked about this, reducing it down to 500. I don't know if that's something that's actually going to happen. Tomorrow night, Tuesday night call tomorrow night is when he's actually going to go through all of this. And there's a couple things we haven't ironed out completely yet, but we'll have ironed out for the call tomorrow night. But commission potential is calculated based on personal sponsorships. So if you go out there and if you sign up a person for one seat, $1,000, you have $1,000 commission potential. Now, one of the new things that's going to be rolling out is from people joining on with us now and going forward, those people are going to have to earn a 1-2 free bonus. They're going to have to sponsor 3 people to be entered into the rapid rewards. Bobby will go into more depth about this tomorrow night, but that's a little hint that's going to be coming. That's implemented, that people are going to have to do a 1-2-3, sponsor their first 3 people to be entered into rapid rewards, to have the ability to earn commissions. And so I hope that helps, Patrick. Doug says, returns, different results, what we pitch, and saying most Bitcoin crypto mining takes place in China. It suggests that was true years ago, but is no longer the case. How do we address this? And those who research this and find information conflict with that, we are saying, okay, when these people are doing their research and they're actually looking it up, when you look at the biggest hash rate of Bitcoin, the number one thing actually says the United States. The top top company that owns the most hash rate of Bitcoin mining, the number one actually says the United States. The next 6 are all China. And if you add up the next 6, they're 2 to 3 times what the number one is in terms of hash rates. They're in 6 different entities, but we all know, like, there's 6 versus 1 right there. If you add up all 6 of those hash rates, it's going to be double or even triple what the number one that says in USA is. And so the majority of the Bitcoin mining and all crypto mining is truly in China. You can do this based on what they're looking at, because I've seen it and I've looked this up too, that if you add up all the Chinese ones, they're going to be so much larger than the USA ones and anywhere else in the world. China has control over most of all crypto mining, but also all proof of stake too. Remember, there's proof of work, which is mining, and then proof of stake. Proof of stake is whoever holds the most controls the most. And Binance is the largest exchange in crypto in the world. They hold most of a lot of these different cryptos. And so that's located over in Asia as well. But also the guy, most of these cryptos, you can't actually figure out who made them. But some of the ones you can are typically the biggest holders as well of their crypto, which makes sense. It's their idea. It's perfectly fine. But if they're proof of stake, right, then whoever buys the most, whoever holds the most, controls the most. And that's why we don't like proof of stake. That's why I'm not a big fan of proof of stake. But most hash rates of all cryptos, the largest holders of those hash rates, are all located overseas. So if you look into that a little bit deeper, you'll find that as well, Doug. Kevin says, I remember hearing that we should be at 125K and we were at 95K. I don't remember seeing us near even that. Could you explain that, please? And thank you. Okay. So I assume you're talking about the amount of coins produced per day, Kevin. And that means we're producing about 95,000 coins a day on average. The whole TEXIT Coin network was designed and built at perfect efficiency and everything perfect that it could produce up to 120,000 coins a day or 125, whatever that number was. We don't ever assume that's going to happen because, again, you have fluctuations with power. We have power stabilizers on our mining equipment to help out with those different power issue things. But for hash rate hashing, these crypto hashing algorithms, different stuff like that, like just because it says we can make a block in 3 minutes doesn't mean we're going to make every single block in 3 minutes, right? The difficulty goes up and down. Sometimes it takes a little bit longer. Sometimes it may take a little bit less. I don't think it ever does. I think it only takes a little bit longer if the difficulty is higher. But basically, it's never a perfect constant thing, right? It goes up and down. And so that's why we're never going to probably produce that 125K, that 130K maximum. But we'll probably always be around that 95,000 coins a day average. We'll probably always be around that. There's no reason to talk about more than that. If it happens, and Bobby said this before, if it happens where we get up to the 110,000 coins a day, that's great. That's a bonus for everybody. But it's not something we have to include in our pitch. It's getting too deep into it. We don't want to overpromise. We want to underpromise, and we want to overdeliver. always. Coach Bud says Bitcoin's down 40K in the last 2 months, all temporary. That's true. That's true. And just like the gold and silver today, it's through the roof. But you can bet what goes up must come down. You know, we're looking at $80 an ounce for silver today. 6 months from now, it could be 20. You know, everything goes up and down. But the only thing that matters is when you cash out. So holding 100 coins today at $1. You know, you have $100 in your account, or 170 coins. You got $170 in your account today. It's not going to be a bad thing once we get to $16, right? $16 is still going to happen. It's not going to happen on the timeline that Bobby originally set, but it's still going to happen. We know how we're going to get there. We don't pitch this path to 16 anymore. We can't pitch the path to 16 anymore, right? And that's why he was talking about last week, getting back to the original pitch. You know, the honest money pitch, bringing honest money to the world, integrating crypto and blockchain into things that the crypto world has never been able to do before. Our only competition is tied into Visa and MasterCard, which isn't much competition. They're still taking the fees. They're still doing the same thing. They're still skimming off the top of every transaction. We really don't have any competition. But yes, Coach Bud, you're right. Bitcoin's down a ton. It's down 40K in the last couple of months. Like, crypto's volatile, guys. The price is not going to stay down like this forever. Do the best you can to accumulate the best you can, because I am. I think it's great. Doug says, I heard Tim ask all new Rangers to give their 5-minute TEXIT Coin pitch. Those would be fun to hear. Can you give us your 5-minute pitch to give us an example? I really like doing this face-to-face, Doug. Do you want to come on here? You want to put your hand up? We can go back and forth? Because that's what I like. And I can pitch you. But my 5-minute pitch is my pitch, first of all, with every person, I actually went back and looked the other day when we were talking about cash potential and making some changes. I started going through my sponsor list, and I could just going through it, and I started going like deep, like 3-4 pages deep. And I remember the conversation I had with every single person, right, that I've signed up. And so my pitch is a little bit different based on who I'm talking to, because most of the time I either knew this person or, you know, they were people that I knew, and, you know, I could categorize them down into 3 or 4 groups, right? And then my pitch is a little bit different based on what type of prospect they are, a little bit. But my 5-minute pitch is, you know, pretty simple. It always starts out with me asking tons of questions, and most of them are all about, you know, trying to figure out what type of group I can categorize that prospect in. But it's trying to figure out what level of crypto knowledge they have. Have they ever done anything with crypto, right? Do you have a Coinbase account or a crypto account, right? Have you done any of these things? Most of the time I get no. And so so typically most of my people are not too familiar with crypto. I mean, I've had some of them, and then I've met random strangers through airports and different things like that were really like big into crypto, and it took me multiple conversations to win them over. But the 5-minute pitch is kind of something that I just use to get another appointment or another conversation for most of the people, you know, that are interested in hearing something about it. The 5-minute pitch is only good for like an Uber ride, right? Or you're talking with somebody before you're board an airplane, right? There's so much to TEXIT Coin that you can't cover in 5 minutes. But the 5-minute elevator pitch, or to get somebody interested, the whole goal with it is, you know, to sit down and have a full conversation about it, right? So you can really win somebody over. And for me, you know, that takes an hour. It takes an hour easily. to sit down with somebody and explain what TEXITcoin is and why TEXITcoin is going to be that top crypto one day. And so my 5 minute pitch isn't something I can. Well, it's just off the cuff most of the time. I don't have it wrote down. I don't have a script. I don't have one 5 minute pitch, so it's a little bit difficult. Which I'm sure if you were there at the last Ranger Roundup, it sounded like it was difficult for a lot of people. But TEXITcoin, at the end of the day, we're a Texas-based crypto. The mission is bring honest money to the world. It's to fix the world. It's a lofty goal, but we all know Bitcoin is more valuable today than when it started 17 years ago. And Bitcoin, as they say, is perfect money. It's digital gold. Why is it digital gold? My whole pitch is, again, relating on why crypto is valuable, why Bitcoin is valuable, how we got today in the crypto world, and then why TEXITcoin is going to be there. And it's about my 5 minute pitch is literally all the things we talk about every week in, week out here. Okay, Doug. Doug says he can't come on, so dang it. Maybe next time. But yeah, so the whole goal of that 5 minute pitch is just to set that next appointment, to set that next meeting, to have that next conversation. Because again, we all know you can't pitch TEXITcoin in 5 minutes. There's too much to go over. So I always try to end up using that to get their information, to get their number. So then we can go sit down and go over it either over the phone, Zoom, webinar, stuff like that, because you do have to show people. Like, I don't care who you are. You have to show people what this project is. You have to pull out the website. You have to go over all the charts, show them what the mine looks like, pictures. Nobody knows what a cold storage wallet is half the time. Nobody knows what crypto mining is anyway, so you really have to show them that stuff. But maybe we'll get Doug on here next week. That'd be great. Thanks for putting your hand up for that one, Doug. Next question I got here, if my thing would quit jumping around. Or next question, from New Zealand. Why is this doing this? My screen keeps jumping around. I can't see the question. I'm not sure why. New Zealand here. Is the mine capable of supporting rapid transactions right now for small organizations? Or are we able to promote layer 2 overseas? Absolutely. So our mine is now capable of supporting mission critical applications and rapid transactions, all that. You can go on to tokens.texitcoin.org and you can make your own layer 2 tokens right now. It's all done, just like Bobby's been saying. Now, what's going to be what you can't access and what you can't do right now, but we're so close on getting it done, is the APIs that the people need to communicate with our network. And so Roland, so the answer to your question, can you roll out this layer 2 stuff right now overseas? Is it capable? The mine is capable of doing it. We have the layer 2 built. The problem is we don't have the last piece of the puzzle, the communication part done. It might be done. It's in the works. I don't know. Bobby should be talking about that a little bit more tomorrow night, but we're so close. Like, we're just days away from this actually happening. So the last key to the puzzle is the API stuff, which I know he's been working on for the last week or so. Coach Bud said my 5-minute pitch is Doug's 5-minute video. I haven't seen it, so I'm gonna have to go find Doug's 5-minute pitch. That'll be good. Coach Bud's got the best one. His 5-minute pitch is 5 seconds. Do you like having fun and making money? Here, watch this video. That's a good one. And I think we shared Coach Bud's videos last time he was on a couple weeks ago. Those were fantastic. We really appreciate everything you can offer us, Coach Bud. You know, you have a lot of great info. TEXITintro.com. If everybody wants to write that down, TEXITintro.com is where Coach Bud's ammunition is. All his bullets, all his gold and his treasure, everything that he has. Well, that's everything that I have that I wanted to go over tonight. The biggest thing is, with our pitch nowadays, we have to get back to the basics. We have to get back to the original pitch, just like what Bobby talked about last week. Of just talking about honest money, what TEXITcoin is bringing to the world. And the marketplace that we're going after is very important. It's a very niche market. And it's something that nobody else is going after because they don't know. They don't know how to do it. They don't know how to build the relationships, integrate with some of these big local community events. And that's what we have. We have the guy that's done it before. That's our ace up the sleeve, or our stacked deck that we always talk about in the office. We have a stacked deck. We have key people in all parts of this thing that we know we're going to succeed. We know we're going to get to the goal line or the finish line. And we know how we're going to get there. And that's because we have a great team. We got again, Bobby with all his expertise. He's a layer 2 guy. He's not a comp plan guy. He tells us this week in, week out. He's not an MLM guy. He's not a comp plan. He's not an affiliate marketer. He's done some things in crypto. He's got a huge background. He's got an amazing background, but he's the guy that can implement this stuff in a layer 2 in a community currency initiative that nobody else can do. Right? He's even said that there's maybe 3 or 4 people on the planet Earth that have the ability to do this. And I know of a couple of them. They're already checked out. They made their billions. They're gone. They're never going to start something. There's no competition for us in what we're doing. And that's, that can be looked at as a good or a bad thing. But I think it's great. And again, my biggest pitch to TEXITcoin was always, back in the original pitch, was always Bobby. Bobby's life, his life's work, and his background, good, bad, and the ugly. Don't ever shy away from anything because people will know how to Google stuff. But as long as you can cover and go over everything with them, you can sit down and have an honest conversation with them, look them eye to eye, tell them exactly what this is. This isn't get rich quick. This isn't a pump and dump. It's not a rug pull. We have a mission, and we have a beautiful project here that we've gotten to this point. We're one of the biggest capital raises in crypto ever. And that's the difference between the original pitch in the early days and then what we have today, which is, hey, it's still a gamble. Hey, it's still new. Hey, it's still young. Hey, it's still early. However, this is where we're at. This is how far we've come. This is what we've grown into today. We've got ads running all over. Even though sales are down, numbers are down, we still have it in the budget coming in that we don't even have to dip into other resources. We still have the ads going to the airports. We're still spending a ton of money, on marketing and promotion. Billboards all over the country. Like, all that stuff is still happening. And so it's our job to get out there and promote, sell. And so, that's the biggest thing right now, is just getting back to the basics, getting back to the original pitch of, TEXITcoin. It's a mission of honest money. And we're going to be what did Bobby already, what did he already say? We have the most exciting thing in crypto, right? He said that since day one, back when this thing was nothing. I remember the day I met him. He told me this is the most exciting thing in crypto, and it wasn't even on an exchange. It wasn't even trading. It was not liquid, and I gave him $1,000 anyway, right? And so we do have the most exciting thing in crypto because we have the greatest community, and we're going to have one of the biggest communities of any crypto project, as well as one of the biggest budgets for marketing and promotion. You know, we're still going to have close to 100 million in liquidity, when we're all done with this mine, once we have this mine built. So there's a lot of things coming. We have a lot going for us, but I will say that everybody needs to be on tomorrow night's call. It's going to be a big one. Bobby's going to lay out all the comp plan changes, and answer pretty much every question that everybody has right now on all the comp plan changes. But everybody should be on there. It should be really, really good. I've got one more question here by Philip. The downtown digital dollars, are they one-to-one like a stable coin? Is the DDD connected to the price of TXE? Okay, so the downtown digital dollars is a stable coin. It's one-to-one. Okay, it's backed up with cash and local credit union. It's not directly related to the price of TXE. However, if people want to transact and use the downtown digital dollar, they have to purchase $1 worth of TEXIT coin to pay for the gas fee. Now, just like Ethereum, when you do a transaction or something, you have a gas fee, right? Most cryptos, most networks, they all have a gas fee, a transaction fee, right? So even though our transaction fees are going to be very minuscule, that $1 worth of TEXIT coin is going to last them, for tens of thousands of transactions. Everybody's going to be picking up $1. You have 100,000 people attend the event, right? They buy into $100 worth of downtown digital dollar, $100 for 100. They're going to be picking up $1 worth of TXC. So Bobby's plan is to give them a 5% bonus on their downtown digital dollars. But they're using one of their $100 to pick up $1 worth of TXC. All right. So that day you have 100,000 people attend the event. You got $100,000 worth of buying of TEXIT coin on the market. That's locked away in the background of a wallet just to pay for gas fees and will never be sold. And so as people reload and they buy another $100, they're going to buy another $1 worth of TEXIT coin. Right. And so as we scale from one event to 10 events to 100 events to 1,000 events, those events are always ongoing too. Most fairs and festivals happen the same times every year. You got the spring ones, you got the summer ones, the 4th of July ones, the fall ones, and then the fairs, right? The state fairs, the local county fairs, and everything like that. And so as we integrate this, these are going to be reoccurring customers, reoccurring people that come back for more. But then also as we integrate it through downtown businesses, local restaurants, different things like that, people can then go use this downtown digital dollar in multiple places, not just the event that they attend that day. Right? That's the whole point, is to bring economic empowerment to all local communities, big, small, huge, doesn't matter. Right? But to bring it to all of them. And so it's not directly related to the price of TXC, but it is going, people are going to be purchasing $1 worth of TXC, which will promote upward buying pressure on our coin. And that's why people want to be a miner of TEXITcoin. That's why they want to receive these daily payouts every single day. Like once we get this stuff rolling through if we're able to pull off the state fairs, just imagine how many times does a state fair happen? Well, there's like 50 of them every year, right? Millions and millions and millions of people that go on. They've been going on for 100 years. They're going to continue for the next 100 years. That's just one avenue. That's just one piece of the market, is state fairs. Think of all the other events that happen every single year. How many towns put on multiple events throughout the year? Like the scaling to this is infinite. We don't have to stop just here in the United States. We're not going to stop here in the United States. That's the whole reason with phase 3, building multiple 100 million mega hash mines around the globe. Gives us global redundancy for TXC. But also we can bring honest money to all parts of the globe. So this isn't going to stop just with Texas. It's not going to stop with just the US. We're going to keep going and going and going. And that's why when Bobby said he's got his TXC ring on for the next 4 years, that was a big gift to all of us. You know, for him to be able to dedicate that much to this, there's no doubt about how far we can go, because it's out there, and it's so much of it is just primed and ready for a digital version of the paper tickets that they use now, or cards. You know, the only other thing is doing paper tickets or credit cards. We already see so many places out there. How many places out there don't take cash now, but they take credit cards? And we can go in there, we can implement TEXITcoin or our downtown or layer 2 or downtown digital dollar into every payment processing thing out there with the right relationships. And some of those relationships can be bought. And so once we tap into that, and we can find any event, anything out there that just takes credit cards and they don't take cash, that's prime for our picking right there. That's the low hanging fruit. So chew on that. That's the stuff that gets me super excited, because it's infinite. The scaling to this, once we get the ball rolling, it's like I told somebody the other day. It's like you push a snowball, this tiny little snowball off the top of a mountain. You watch that roll, 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 roll all the way down. It only gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And that's where we're at. The snowball's been started. It's rolling down the top of the mountain right now, but we're at the top. We have all the way to go. And this thing's just going to get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And so that's the most exciting thing for me, is seeing the future to this and the ongoing, especially with phase 3 and phase 4. Phase 4, I don't know, how much people know about the phases, but phase 3 is global redundancy with multiple mines. Phase 4 is education. The education one's very exciting as well. It's not stuff that we've really talked about or got into the details much of, because again, it's a long ways out. But that's the thing with Bobby, is he's always playing 8-dimensional chess. Just when you think you've got something on him, he's 10 steps ahead of everybody. And it's amazing to watch. He's amazing to watch at work. But if you guys have anything else for me, let me know. We're going to wrap this up here tonight. Appreciate you all coming on. And again, be on the call tomorrow night. It's going to be important. It's, again, the last Tuesday night call for the year, and it's going to be a big one. So thank you all. Have a hope everybody had a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. We'll talk to you tomorrow night.